Hello, everyone. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to Tea and Truth with Karen Book. I am here today. We're going to talk some forgiveness real quick. Real quick. And I see somebody has already hearted. You know what I'm about to ask you. Let me know where you are and what's in your cup. There is the phone.
Call from Millie.
Michelle has water with lime. That is a good combination. How many people out here thought that a lime was a lemon that wasn't right? Woo! Okay, I'm gonna tell you. Your host of this show, to you for the longest, for the longest, your girl thought that a lime was a lemon that was on its way. We thank God for Google and Beyonce's internet. They let me know that a lime and a lemon is people. Karen thinks it. A lot people think that. Yeah. Well, Karen doesn't think it now. hmm Some people think the Earth is flat. So here we are. I looked it up and learned better. I did. So see, you can always learn something. You can always learn something. Yes, I just thought they were the same little fruit. I did. But nevertheless, baby, now some people do think that the Underground Railroad really was trains and that it's underground. And that it is underground. Whew. We are so glad that we have learned better though. Always remain teachable. Oops. Let me and sis, man, I was so perturbed by that little snafu yesterday that had me to have to start over. I had got on a good roll with my little teaching, not little, but with my teaching. And then I thought they had done something to me. And but nevertheless, I am back. I was not trying to do this. I am back. I'm going to wait about another 30 or 40 more seconds because I try to give people time to get here. Baby, I was on a roll. I think I was telling something. I was probably telling a story, and that thing said, "We are no longer broadcasting to Facebook." And I was like, "Well, what you doing here?" I'm gonna tag Mr. Clark, my new friend. There we go. Who is out there on the eastern seaboard with you in South Carolina? We do have tea, lemon, and mint. Peach, lemon, and mint tea with lemon juice and now lime juice. And we have honey. I know I'm stuck right here on this combination. It's my favorite. Okay. So we are we are this week talking about forgiveness as a lifestyle. And yesterday we talked about it being a heart posture and not just an event. And we talked about it happening in layers and how there are times when just because of where you are in maturity, where you are in life, you can forgive and you are okay to to a point. And then something happens and you realize, oh, I can forgive even further. It's almost like forgive them and then the healing process starts and then you you can say hi and then you have to go on, with you can say hi to the offending party and then you go on. And then another layer is when you can release them further and have a conversation. Still have, I'm not saying reconcile, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the forgiveness puts you in a place where you don't have to stay completely away and walk out when they walk in and all that. So it happens in layers. And so we're continuing with the teaching on forgiveness being a lifestyle. And today we're talking about when does forgiveness feel complete and when it needs revisiting. Because, as we said, it's a process. It does not mean reconciliation, not at all. And so, and that's one of the things that keeps people from forgiving is that they say, well, if I forgive, then that means we got to be friends. You really don't. You really don't. Because being somebody's friend is a choice. So you really don't. And so a lot of people and people ask me this all the time. How do you know when it how do you know when it took? How do you know when forgiveness is complete? This is always my answer. The choice to forgive is complete. Just like no is a complete sentence. The choice to forgive is complete. When you say, you know what, I forgive. Because at that point you understand, or I hope you understand, that forgiveness means you're not letting your emotions run amok when you think about what they did. And that you have released them to be and do whatever they're going to be and do. You don't need closure. You don't need a conversation. You don't need to get it off your chest. You don't need to get them told. I feel better if I could just, you might feel better in that moment. But the fact of the matter is, getting them told does not heal your feelings. It gives you the satisfaction of getting them told. But whatever they did that hurt your feelings, getting them told didn't heal that. Healing your feelings is a God job, and that is above your pay grade. Forgiveness is the door that opens the way for God to come in and heal your feelings and handle the person. So people often ask me, when is forgiveness complete? Well, the answer, the choice is complete. The process is the healing of the feelings. That's where the length comes in. That's where the layers come in, right? And so we want to ask ourselves when we're talking about forgiveness and something, something has happened and you're not sure if you've forgiven and you want to check and say, am I at peace or am I just numb? Do I feel all right in my soul? Or have I just walked off from them and learned how to live with whatever it was that they did? That's something only you can decide. Because peace and numbness look still similar, but they are not the same. Both are quiet, both feel less reactive, but only one is free. So forgiveness completion often shows up emotionally neutral rather than suppression. You remember it, but it doesn't make you react. You're aware of what happened, but it doesn't get you agitated and irritated. Okay? It's when you can say, I had a therapist once, and we're talking about one of the traumatic events in my life, and he said at some point when you're healed, you'll be able to, you know, this thing happened, and it's like it's sitting on the shelf, and you know it's there, you know it's happened, and you can talk about it. You can pick it up and take it off the shelf and talk about it, and then you're done talking about it, you put it back over there on the shelf because you're talking about it maybe to share with somebody your experience, right? And I thought, man, you crazy. I said, sir, you must be out your mind. I don't see how that with what happened, I just don't see how I would ever be able to just take it off the shelf and talk about it and put it back. But I was probably the worst therapeutic patient ever. It turns out he was right. Numbness looks and sounds like emotional shutdown. It's protection because you have disconnected, and it develops when pain, you know, the pain was overwhelming. It was there. You couldn't figure it out. You couldn't make your way out of it. All the things happened, and you just decided, you know what, I'm gonna just go back into this cave, and I'm not gonna mess with folks no more because folks crazy, and I'm just not gonna deal with the people. And you said something like, I ain't gonna never, whatever you said. And I promise you, I ain't gonna never will make a lie out of you every single time. You won't never have to. It's gonna make a lie out of you. And your feelings gonna be hurt. So you don't want to get to that place where I ain't, this is what some people say. This is not me saying this. I ain't gonna never fool with them folks at that church no more. Every single time. And so, and so, Proverbs 18 and 14 reminds us that a crushed spirit often goes silent. That's when you're really hurt. That's when you're really hurt to your core. Because nobody ever said that just because you got saved and love the Lord that you wouldn't have things that crush you to your core. He promised you he would be there with you when it happened, and he promised you he'd deliver you out of it. Uh, mm, is it Psalm 34 and 19, I think, where it says, many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers them out of them all. So he's going to be there with you and he's going to bring you out of it. But he didn't say you wouldn't have to walk through it. So your crushed spirit can go silent sometimes, but just because you're silent doesn't mean that you're healed. It means that you're quiet and you're not talking about it. But that also probably means that it is festering and growing inside of you. It's probably causing you more problems than you think, right? So when you, if you are dealing with something that you might need to forgive, when you think about it, do you feel peaceful or do you feel simply connected? I mean, do you feel simply disconnected? I'm sorry. Do you feel peaceful? Because if you feel peaceful, then that means that the forgiveness has taken a hold and, you know, it's in a space of completion. Um, and it's either at a space of completion until you get some capacity for some more forgiveness, not some more damage, some more forgiveness, or you've reached the state of completely healed from the event that you chose to forgive. Okay. And so when you get to that place, you get to that place, your soul feels lighter. Your soul feels lighter. I know you think that when you forgive, it's gonna be come down like a mighty rushing wind, and you just gonna feel. It usually arrives softly, almost like it sneaks up on you, because you said, "Yes, Lord, I choose to forgive," and He starts healing the feelings. And sometimes, it might be something that it's one of those things where you wake up in the morning and you just crying about the situation. You just cry. Let's say it's a bad breakup, right? I've had one of those too. But I was so broke up about this rotten dude that I would wake up with tears in my eyes. Like wake up from sleep with tears in my eyes. And during this time I'm also going to counseling for something else. And so, and so he's walking me through my whole life. And so I go and I'm telling him about, the breakup, blah, blah, blah. And his question to me was, do you wake up with tears in your eyes? And I'm like, I do, but I didn't think that was normal. I thought that was something, you know. So, so you may wake up with tears in your eyes. Literally, that is not a metaphor. Then one day you wake up and there's no tears, but you might still be sad. And then another day you wake up and you're like, hmm, but you don't notice. And then one day you wake up and it's like, hmm, I feel pretty good. See, it wasn't dramatic. It wasn't dramatic. You just wake up and your energy might be different. Your outlook might be a little different because you've taken the time and you've said, I forgive the person and I'm going on with what I need to do and we're gonna let the Lord handle it. And then you wake up and one day you're just like, oh, I'm not thinking about that thing all day. I'm not trying to process that thing. I'm not trying to, Lord, I'm not talking to the Lord through that thing. Why? Because I've already done all that. And that's what the lightness looks like. Michelle, are you on YouTube? That's what the lightness looks like. That's what it feels like. That's what it comes forth as. Yes, I've been through that too. And so your disposition changes. It is like you can breathe again. Breathe again, like the song. And so the completion I'll say the completion of the forgiveness healing cycle. Forgiveness healing cycle. I don't even know if that's a term, but it is now. The completion of the forgiveness healing cycle, you just have gone through the emotional you've gone through the emotional places of uh, the grief of whatever happened. And so now you just wake up and you're just ready to go do something else and not even worry about that problem, that issue. A lighter soul often shows up as faster emotional recovery, because I got notes. Faster emotional recovery, less mental replay, softer reactions, and a greater present moment awareness. Jesus promises us a lighter burden, not the absence of memory. So now you can tell somebody about your. I'm glad you were able to find it because I was concerned yesterday. So your burden has shifted, and now it has become something, an experience that you can share with somebody. Actually, that is part two of the forgiveness, the forgiveness academy. That's part two. That comes after freedom through forgiveness journey. So yes, Michelle. And so, how do you know that freedom is working and that it's coming? And I'm almost done for today. Freedom shows up indirectly. You respond differently. You explain less. You release faster, and often you don't notice it until after it has begun. Really, I didn't notice it until it had arrived. I kept going to work. I kept doing my thing. So, is there any place? Just think about it. Is there any place where have you noticed even a small decrease in emotional or mental weight? That means that the forgiveness process is coming. It is working. Forgiveness is not something that shouts, it lightens. And over time, the lightness becomes the freedom that you can live from. All right, y'all. I got it done in 20 minutes without the thing cutting off on me. And so, Michelle, I guess we will just have to tag some people and count on the mighty, mighty replay crew. And come back tomorrow at 4:30 because it is Freedom Friday. We're going to recap the week. We have talked about how it impacts our decision making and how forgiveness impacts how unforgiveness impacts our decision making and how forgiveness causes our soul to be lighter and how it shows up. And so we'll wrap things up for January on tomorrow. A whole month in 2026 has already gone by. A whole month. We got 11 more months to do some stuff and get some stuff together. All right, y'all. So I will see you on tomorrow for Tea and Truth with Karen Booth tomorrow at 4:30. You have a good day.